Welcome back, everyone. This time, we're going to bring you the news conference today, February 21st, 2020, and Lori's appearance in court. This is part 24, Missing Murder Vanished, Lori's Day in Court. Catherine, welcome to an episode of Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. So here is a picture of Chad out in the hallway before court. And Lori standing next to her lawyer looking as fabulous as ever. And Chad sitting in the courtroom looking like a 12-year-old in 6th grade, waiting for the teacher to announce their grades. I'm going to go ahead and play the courtroom appearance right now.
Has been made for your surrender by the state of Idaho.
Yes.
And do you know that you have been charged in the state of Idaho with a number of charges, which I'm going to refer to now for the record. And these include the following. 2 counts of desertion and non-support of dependent child under 18 years of age, arrests and seizures, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court, criminal willful disobedience, or court process or order. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, she's aware of the charges.
Okay. And Ms. Vallow, I understand that you have standing next to you Mr. Hempe and Ms. Primo. For the record, you understand that you have a right to counsel.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to speak up so we can get this all recorded.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that you have the right to test the legality of the warrant.
Yes. Yes.
And you understand that you have a right to apply for a writ of habeas corpus.
Yes.
And do you understand what a writ of habeas corpus is?
We got that covered, and we do, so through us, she does.
Okay. So basically, you understand that the purpose of the writ of habeas corpus is to test the legality of the governor's warrant and basically the legality of this extradition process.
Yes.
And unless you are charged with an offense that's punishable by death or life imprisonment, that you have the right to post a bond.
Yes.
And you understand that this court cannot hold you in jail for more than 90 days after you have been identified. And further, do you understand, Ms. Vallow, that, as I said, you and your attorneys have the right to test the legality of the arrest. You understand basically that you have a right to have an extradition hearing.
Yes.
And you understand that you have a right to have this extradition hearing, and this is to determine whether or not you are the person, in fact, that is named in the warrant that has been requested by the state of Idaho.
Yes.
And at this time, let me address either yourself or your attorney. Will Ms. Vallow be waiving her right to extradition?
No, Your Honor, she is exercising her right to an extradition hearing.
And when are you requesting that we have this hearing?
Your Honor, I'd like to be heard on bail, and that will determine the answer. But the short answer is, if the court keeps bail as it is, we'd like it to be as Monday, as soon as possible. If the court is going to lower bail, then it can go further out, such that she can actually make it.
And so this leads into your request to lower bail?
It leads to my request for bail. Your Honor, my understanding is this is a warrant from an Idaho court. It's not a governor's warrant. The application from the state says that they intend to seek a governor's warrant, or they might seek a governor's warrant, I think, but they don't have one yet.
This is issued by Judge Eddings.
Right. So as such, Hawaii law governs bail, not Idaho law, and that's HRS 832-14 and 832-15. So I would ask to be heard as to bail because we are sitting here with a couple felonies and misdemeanors and a $500,000 bail. And the points I want to make, they just track the bail statute. But the points I want to make is, first of all, Lori has a residence on Kauai. Her husband lives on Kauai. She remained in Kauai since Mr. DaCosta made contact with the police in January. They've known she was here. Mr. DaCosta's been in touch with them. I have the emails. Police knew she was represented by counsel on Kauai since January 30th of this year as well. She made a trip to Maui on vacation, but she left. She informed Mr. DaCosta, and he remained willing to produce her as soon as the police wanted her. He's been in contact with the police throughout this, again, offering to produce her. Instead, she was arrested, and media was calling us all day. It seems like it was maybe a made-for-media event at taxpayer expense because, again, Mr. DaCosta offered to the police on January 30th, several police, that he would just simply turn her in. She doesn't even have a passport. And as to the charges, as the court noted, a couple things the court noted today that were I guess, prescient and related. First of all, there's no life in prison or death penalty in this case. So she has a right to, under the Idaho statute, it appears that the maximum penalty for any of those felonies is like 13, 14 years. So they're basically like bees in Hawaii. And typically, that would be typically more in the neighborhood of $10,000 bail here, or $20,000. And again, given her residency here, she hasn't fled. They didn't even need to arrest her, and Mr. DaCosta has been in touch with them the whole time. We would request that bail be reduced until the hearing to a constitutional amount, an amount, in other words, that will ensure her appearance as opposed to ensuring that she can't make bail, which is the current state of things.
So what specific amount are you asking?
I'm asking for $10,000. I think that's how the court we typically see a bail like that in a case like this if it were here.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Kohler, your response.
Judge, the charge, at least one of the charges that Ms. Vallow is facing in Idaho, felony abandonment or non-support of wife or children, is punishable by imprisonment of up to 14 years in prison. And that makes it at least the equivalent of a Class B in Hawaii, which does qualify as a serious crime under HRS 804-3A. We are asking that Ms. Vallow be remanded without bail. She checks every single box under 804-3 in that any person charged with criminal offense shall be bailable by sufficient sureties, provided that bail may be denied where the charge is for a serious crime, which this is, and 1, there is a risk that the person will flee, which certainly is indicated in this case. She has already absconded from the jurisdiction where the underlying crime is alleged to have taken place. 2, there is a serious risk that the person will obstruct or attempt to obstruct justice. Indeed, one of the charges she's facing in Idaho is precisely that she has interfered with an investigation. 3, there is a serious risk that the person poses a danger to any person or the community. Certainly, the charges she's facing indicate that risk, and there is a serious risk that the person will engage in illegal activity. Your Honor, she has no ties to this island other than a rented condominium in Princeville. She has apparently resources to travel and leave. And, Your Honor, the state submits that if ever there was a case suitable, our office does not request this on a regular basis, that a person be denied bail. This is the case that's appropriate for that. As far as the identification hearing goes, for us to get the necessary documents from Idaho as well as Honolulu and arrange it for the necessary witnesses, we're asking for an ID hearing to be set in the second week of March, if that's what we're going to do. Your Honor has up to 30 days. But to get the necessary people here from off-island, because everything does need to come from off-island, that is going to take some time and coordination. So we're asking for a date after March 5th on that.
Hey, Mr. Kohler, a couple of things. Let's begin with a statement made by Mr. Hempy a few minutes ago. Are you in agreement with his categorization that this is not a governor's warrant matter?
No, the governor's warrant has not been obtained yet. The governor's warrant is obtained after the person has been brought in and demanded, exercised their right to demand the governor's warrant. The Madison County prosecutors, per my discussions with them, which have been ongoing, they are prepared to immediately seek their governor's warrant and have it domesticated in the state of Hawaii.
Okay, very good. Now, Mr. Kohler, I guess the most important question I have is, why would it take 3 weeks to get the witnesses or other means of identification so that we can go forward with the hearing?
Because we need to get fingerprints from Idaho sent here. They need to be compared in Honolulu with Hawaii fingerprints that are on file for Ms. Vallow. They need to be, the results of that analysis need to be checked by another analyst in Honolulu, and then we need to bring the witnesses over here. And particularly if Your Honor is inclined to apply, we note that the rules of evidence do not apply to identification hearings, but if we are going to have to comply with those rules, then we need to make sure we actually bring the live witnesses here, and that requires coordination with a number of individuals who, and we have been working on that and advised them as soon as we learned this morning that Ms. Vallow intended to contest her extradition, we began making those arrangements. But we don't want to get in a situation where we commence next week and then we have to continue because somebody was unavailable, Judge. We want to be able to get it all done at once. And we think that's reasonable in light of the circumstances.
Okay, Mr. Hempy, your response?
Your Honor, I don't think I heard anything that takes 3 weeks. And we're concerned with her in custody, by the way, for another reason. Yesterday when she was arrested, and my office was calling cell block, Mr. DaCosta was calling cell block, and they told him she's not here. And basically she was MIA for hours. And we learned since that the Idaho police were questioning her while the Kauai, with the Kauai police, while they knew she was represented by counsel. It's just another reason to get this done faster. I mean, fingerprints and fingerprint comparisons don't take very long. And getting people over here shouldn't take 3 weeks. And just in response to the bail arguments, she is presumed innocent, and I don't think the state has checked the box of danger to the community. They're alleging simultaneously she's not with the children, but that she's a harm to them, and there's certainly no allegation that she's a harm to the community on Kauai. So that's my response.
Okay. All right, anything further? You decide.
Unless Your Honor has particular questions.
No, I don't.
Thank you.
All right. Then, first of all, as to bail, bail is confirmed in the amount of $5 million. As to the hearing, we will set the hearing. Let me just confirm that. Okay, we're going to set it for Monday, March 2nd, 2020. It'll be on the 9 o'clock calendar, following our regular criminal calendar.
Judge, may I be heard briefly?
Yes.
I know that Mr. Hempy represented that Ms. Vallow does not have a passport, but could we make it a condition that if she does manage to post bail, that if she has one, and we will independently investigate that, if she does have one, that it be a condition of the bail that she turn that in.
Okay, you want that surrendered to your office?
To the Kauai Police Department.
Okay, and any response to that?
She doesn't have a passport. So.
Okay. All right, then let me just make it clear on the record, Ms. Vallow, should you bail out, you are to surrender immediately upon bailing out any passports that you may have, and that goes over to the Kauai Police Department for safekeeping. Okay. All right, anything further?
Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. With that, court is adjourned. Thank you.
Let's go.
All rise.
Just like you did yesterday.
Thank you.
We begin with breaking news. Lorivallow, the mother of 2 missing children with ties to Arizona, just appeared in court in Hawaii.
She was arrested yesterday on counts of felony child abandonment, along with other charges.
There's still no word on the whereabouts of those children. So some haven't seen them since September. Justin Lum is here with the latest today. Justin.
John Kerry, in about an hour or so, we expect to hear from Kauai police. A news conference will be held at KPD headquarters regarding Lori Vallow's arrest. But now we know Lori Vallow will remain jailed in Kauai for now, and her bail stays at $5 million.
She doesn't even have a passport. And as to the charges, as the court noted, a couple of things the court noted today that were I guess, prescient and related. First of all, there's no life in prison or death penalty in this case, so she has a right to bail.
In fact, Lori Vallow's defense team asked the judge to reduce her bail from $5 million to $10,000, claiming she is not a flight risk. In the room for Lori's first court appearance since her arrest on Thursday, her husband, Chad Daybell, watching closely.
Your Honor, she has no ties to this island other than a rented condominium in Princeville. She has apparently resources to travel and leave. And, Your Honor, the state submits that if ever there was a case suitable, you know our office does not request this on a regular basis, that a person be denied bail. This is the case that's appropriate for that.
Kauai County's prosecuting attorney says Lori should have been denied bail and has no ties to the island, pointing to the serious charges against her, including 2 felony counts of child abandonment. Her kids, JJ and Tylee, haven't been seen for 5 months. The probable cause statement from Rexburg Police reveals more on 7-year-old JJ Vallow. The Idaho State Pharmacy told detectives his prescription for risperidone had not been filled in Idaho. The medicine treats irritability caused by his autism. During a search warrant at Lori Vallow's home on November 27th, police found a bottle with 17 pills in Lori's home. When Lori moved her kids JJ and Tylee from Chandler to Rexburg, court docs say she told her friend that Tylee was taking classes at BYU Idaho. But police say records show Tylee never enrolled at BYU Idaho or any other school affiliated with BYU. And a new development. September 8th is when police say Tylee was last seen at Yellowstone National Park. A search warrant used on Lori Vallow's iCloud showed police a photo of Tylee at the park that day. The National Park Service also provided a photo of Tylee seen at the park entrance that same day. Lori Vallow will contest extradition. The Madison County Prosecuting Attorney's Office is ready to seek a governor's warrant immediately. So Lori Vallow's extradition hearing is set for March 2nd. At 6 tonight, KPD will speak to the media. Stay with us. Live in the studio, Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Justin.
You guys took up my space on my podium here. Good afternoon. Thank you all for your patience. I'm Chief Todd Raybuck, T-O-D-D-R-A-Y. You want me to start over? Chief Todd Raybuck, R-A-Y-B-U-C-K. I'm the Chief of Police for the Kauai Police Department. Before I give a brief statement and introduce the Prosecuting Attorney, Justin Collar, I want to just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up on how this press conference will run. If you could silence your phones, that'd be fantastic. What I'll do is provide a brief statement of what we have done here at the Kauai Police Department in the last couple of days and what our role has been, and then the Prosecuting Attorney, Justin Collar, will come up and provide you some information there. What I want to explain to you all, because I know that there's quite a bit of interest in this case and what's going on with the investigation, I want to make it clear before we start that we are not the primary agencies responsible for this investigation. This investigation is being conducted by the Rexburg Police Department and the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, and they are the ones that are conducting this investigation. Our responsibility has only been to support those entities and to carry out what legal issues and requests that they have for us on our end. So to that end, all I can tell you is that please take that into a consideration when we give you an opportunity to ask questions, to limit those questions to what it pertains to here on Kauai and not necessarily regarding the investigation and the matters involving the investigation on the mainland, because we can't answer that. Okay? So, back in December of 2019, the Kauai Police Department was conducted. Let me start that all over for you. Who's live?
We all are.
Oh, fantastic. Back in December of 2019, the Kauai Police Department was contacted by the Rexburg Police Department requesting our assistance to see if we could locate Lori Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell. We were able to identify that they were here on the island. Subsequently, the Police Department, Rexburg Police Department, requested our assistance in providing an order to compel Lori Vallow to produce her children in Madison County. The Kauai Police Department did in fact find and produce that order to compel, and as you all know, she subsequently failed to do so. In addition, the Kauai Police Department, through the affidavit in support of the investigators in the Rexburg Police Department, were requested to serve a search warrant on the residence where the Daybells were residing, as well as the vehicle that they were operating. We did enforce that search warrant, and all of the information that was gleaned from that search warrant was provided to Rexburg PD. Now, obviously, yesterday, we received information from the Madison County jurisdiction courts through the Rexburg Police Department that a $5 million warrant was issued for Lori Vallow's arrest. That included the ability for the Kauai Police Department to take Lori Vallow into custody on the following charges, according to the warrant: 2 felony counts of desertion, and non-support of dependent children, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. Lori Vallow was taken into custody without any incident by detectives of the Kauai Police Department. She was transported here to the Kauai Police Department headquarters and booked into our cell block, where she stayed until she got taken to her court appearance earlier this morning. She was taken in custody on Queen Emma Drive in Princeville, Kauai, and that was through our police detectives. After the court hearing, she was transferred by the state sheriffs into the custody of the Kauai Community Correction Center, where she will remain throughout the time frame of her court proceedings. So what I want to reiterate is that we are all hopeful that we are able to locate the missing children, Tylee and JJ, and we appreciate the community support. We appreciate the media's interest in this story and helping all the investigators try to locate these missing children. At this time, I'd like to introduce Prosecuting Attorney Justin Kohler so he can provide you with his statement.
My name is Justin Kohler. I'm the prosecuting attorney for the County of Kauai. I'm sure all of you were across the street for court and saw exactly what happened. So that's what happened. And as Chief mentioned, we're not the lead on this case. Our position has always been, we're here, call upon us, we'll assist in any way we can. And the extradition proceeding concerns simply the mechanics of getting Ms. Vallow from here back to Idaho. The underlying substance or merits of the case involving the children will not be litigated here on Kauai. The extradition proceedings, what she can contest during these proceedings basically is the legality of the arrest, and really that's about it. So the hearing on March 2nd will be for the purposes of identifying Lori Vallow, the person here in custody, as being the same person who is named on the warrant that came here from Idaho. So that is the purpose of that hearing, and if that is successfully achieved, then she will be commanded into the custody of the Idaho personnel once we receive the governor's warrant and have it domesticated by our governor here in Hawaii. So that's about the extent of our involvement in the case. I join in the Chief's statement that hopefully our involvement in this process can lead to some kind of just resolution to this case. And, of course, we are also hoping against hope that Tylee and JJ are out there somewhere and will be reunited with their other family members at some point. So I don't have anything else to add, Chief.
I would just like to conclude before we begin with questions that I want to thank the Rexburg Police Department for the incredible amount of work and effort they've put into this case. They've been working tirelessly to locate Tylee and JJ, and I know that in today's modern world that we expect police work to solve everything in 48 hours. Unfortunately, that's not the case, especially with a case that has this many challenges ahead of it. And so I just want to thank the Rexburg Police Department for all of their work and their efforts. And I also want to thank all of my detectives and personnel here at the Kauai Police Department for the hard work and professionalism they have done in this case to support the investigation on the mainland. So with that, we'll open it up for a few questions.
Chief, Jonathan Migliotti with CBS News. The couple have been island hopping recently. At the time of this arrest, any indication they were planning to leave Hawaii or somewhere else?
I have no information that they had any desire to leave.
And can you explain why Chad Daybell was not arrested, why it was just Lori Vallow?
So as I mentioned earlier, this investigation is being conducted in the mainland. We have no local charges or concerns that there's criminal activity that's occurred here in Hawaii or on Kauai. And so we are acting in response to the legal matters and the warrants that come from the Rexburg authorities or Madison County authorities, and we have not received any order that Chad Daybell is part of the investigation or at this time necessarily under arrest. So until such time that they ask for our assistance, we have nothing here locally to take him into custody for.
During the hearing earlier today, defense had expressed some concerns that Vallow was in fact questioned by Idaho PD while in Kauai police custody. Is that true, and does that violate any laws?
I'm not going to comment on what our investigative assistance to the Rexburg Police Department has been.
Was Chad Daybell questioned?
I'm not going to comment on the investigation and what's been taking place.
Hi, Stephanie Sheena with the Guardian News. I just want to ask if Chad Daybell has been summoned by the Idaho to stay on the island, or is he free to go as he pleases?
At this time, there are no criminal charges pending. He's able to move about as he wishes.
Thank you.
Any signs of the children here in Kauai?
So the last sighting that I have been aware of happened in the mainland, and there has been no sighting since that sighting here in the on Kauai or in the state. And so at this time, we don't believe that there is any connection to the children being here.
The people you folks are going to call for the March 2nd hearing, is it like just people in her community in Idaho, grandparents? Who exactly are the candidates on the show to be a part of that hearing?
We're working on determining that, and that's all we can say at this point, but we will call the sufficient witnesses necessary to identify the person in custody as being the person named on the Idaho warrant.
And were you satisfied that Pakinaki did not lower her bail?
I was pleased that she certainly did not grant the defense's request. Yeah, as I stated in court, I believed the case would be appropriate for remanding without bail being set, but I understand the judge has that discretion, and I'm not complaining about her decision.
Can you talk about how long it takes for the governor's warrant process to follow through?
It depends on the availability of staff to process the warrant. It works different in different states. It depends on their process for getting the warrant in front of the governor. It depends on how quickly their attorney general's office works. We've been in close contact with Madison County prosecutors throughout this process. I want to commend their efforts. They have been absolutely on top of things and thoroughly professional, and I'm confident that the governor's warrant will be secured in an expeditious fashion.
Is this a matter of days or is it a matter of weeks?
It's a matter of how quickly they can get in front of their governor, and I have not worked with the Idaho governor before, so I'm hoping that we can get it done quickly.
So unclear at this point whether you'll have it by the next hearing on March 2nd.
It is unclear. Under the statute, we have 30 days with a possible 60-day extension, so we have up to 90 days to secure the governor's warrant and have that served. We do not hope or expect that it will take that long.
Can she petition to resist the extradition process, and how long might that take?
Pursuant to the Uniform Criminal Extradition Act, which is the law in Hawaii and in most states, what she can contest in this proceeding is her identification and the legality of the arrest. So those are the only two issues at stake in this hearing.
We'll take two more questions.
Chief. In terms of, can you confirm that Taiwanese phone was found during the warrant search, and also whether there were any activities during that time?
No.
Speaking broadly, just with your history carrying out investigations, you've been doing it for a long time. I know as part of the warrant, it was revealed that records show, financial records, that child care has not been paid for since the kids have gone missing in September. JJ's medication, his autism medication, has not been filled since September. For people that are watching this all around the country and world trying to figure this out, what do those clues laid out in that warrant mean to you?
That was a great attempt to get me to speak about the investigation that's occurring on the mainland, which I'm not going to do. So, Ashley, last question.
Chief, we're hearing that Lori will be isolated in her cell for home protection. Is that true?
So she's been moved to the Kauai Community Correctional Center. It's their responsibility to determine how she should be properly housed, and so I can't answer that question. Thank you very much for all your time and attention. Appreciate you guys and your interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
And per Justin Lum, Fox 10 Phoenix, the condo is for sale that Lori and Chad have been renting while they've been on Kauai, living in Princeville. And so I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, it does have to go through an escrow process. So I would think, they're going to have to move. But bottom line is Lori has to go back to mainland. She has to go back to Idaho. So I guess Chad would most likely follow her, I would believe. And unless some charges come up against him, he might be in jail too. So please, everyone, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And so I can keep bringing you this content because it does take a lot of time. Okay. And then I have a couple more comments to make about this whole thing. What about that lawyer? What about the lawyer? He looks a little frazzled. He looks a little in over his head, as well as Chad does too. Everyone looks in and over their head except for Lori. She looks like she has that same, like, I'm better than everyone. And what do you mean $5 million? Why? Why $5 million? I don't even think I should have to pay anything to get out of here. But I'll go ahead and let you have 10,000. How's that? Why don't I just go ahead and let you have 10,000? That's Lori in my head right now. And the lawyer it's like he needs to go have a shot of whiskey after this. And then the other thing I was going to say is the lawyer said, yeah, you guys are saying she's a danger to the kids. Well, she's not even with the kids. Yeah, duh. She's not with the kids. That's why we're here. That's the whole point. Where hashtag where are the kids? Hashtag where are the children? Where are the kids, Lori? That's why we're here, Mr. Lawyer. That's why you're going to make your money, because we don't know where the kids are. And Lori's not telling. So, yes, that is a danger to the kids. She's not supporting them. She's not with them. She doesn't tell anybody where they are. That's why you're here. Okay, enough of that soapbox. But come on, what a stupid thing to say. And, yeah, so that is a wrap for this one tonight. I'm going to go watch Netflix. I will be doing a live tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10:30 Pacific time. And I will see you there if you're going to join me. And we'll talk about this some more and anything that might happen tonight. But, Lori's got her hard little cot and her blanket and her pillow, or whatever they give you in there. And she's going to hopefully get her little beauty rest because she's starting to look a little haggard, right? So we will see you tomorrow. I'm Catherine. Thanks for watching. This has been an episode of Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. And thank you so much to East Idaho News, Nate Eaton, Justin Lum, Fox 10 Phoenix, and Hawaii Now. Thanks again. Have a great night, everyone.